Hey everyone, it is Wednesday. Welcome back wherever this finds you, whether it's live with us today or in the future on the recording. Welcome to another Conversations on Vitality. I'm your host, James Gardner, along with my co-host extraordinaire, Ariel Jarvis. Hey, Ariel.
Hello.
All right, gang, this is part 4 of our ongoing series. I know, Vitality Superhero Formula, part 4 of 4. So today we're going to discuss water in all its brilliance. And just to review, so part 4, well, the first 3 parts, earth, wind, and fire, and of course today's water. Earth was all about magnetism, the power of magnetism. Second episode was, of course, oxygen, deep breathing, saturation, oxygen, how it can alleviate a multitude of things. And of course, last week was fire, which was the power of light therapy, infrared, red light therapy, all these things to really get into our cellular function and efficiency. Now, today is part 4 of Vitality Superhero Formula. And we know, everyone that's going to tune in knows water is important. We know that. Gone are the days where we have to drink milk all the time to be strong and healthy. It's water is life. So, but Ariel, as we're going to discuss today, not all water is created equal.
That is correct.
Right? So let's start there. Why water? And here's a question. Is all water the same?
Nope. Okay, so get your pens and papers. We're going to talk about chemistry. As you know, your whole body is made up of atoms. I love it. You got your pen going. So, is water the same? No. The reason why is because water is a live being, meaning that it actually is very reactive and it wants to donate electrons to balance out its environment. It is very, very, very unstable. And so what happens with water throughout the world is it is ionized. This is called blue zone water. And there are certain parts of the world that still contain blue zone water, but places like Canada, we do not contain blue zone water anymore. Blue zone water is when you have negative charged water. So when you drink it, your cells require a pH sensory system. Your cell can only absorb negative charged water. So why is this great? Because it's going to bring nutrients into the body, vitamins and minerals. However, if you're drinking positive charged water, which is from our tap water and from our bottled water, so if you're going and getting reverse osmosis or distilled, anything like that, or even just mountain water, it actually has a positive charge. And you can test this by buying an ORP meter. It's a little device on Amazon. Test your own water. Don't take our word for it. It has a high positive charge. This is dangerous because your cells can only absorb negative. So now we are dealing with distortion in the cell. Every single cell has a mitochondria, and in that mitochondria requires a negative charged water to activate it so that the cell can perform for you. So if you have a bunch of underactive cells, starting right away, as soon as you wake up, the first thing you should do is drink water. But if you're not absorbing that water, you have underactive cells throughout your entire day. Water is designed to reduce inflammation in the body. So think of inflammation or acidity as a positive charge, fire. How do you put out a fire? Water. We have a forest fire. We use buckets and buckets of water. Well, what about the fire inside your body? Well, how did the fire get there? Too much positive charge. Well, how did the positive charge get there? By our diet and stressor lifestyle. Do you smoke? Do you drink? Do you consume coffee? Are you on medications? Do you over-exercise? Do you overeat? Do you have gastrointestinal issues? Are you constipated? Do you have diarrhea? Do you have bad pathogens in the body creating positive charged byproducts? Do you have issues with energy levels? The body will start to tell you that there's too much positive. And so water was actually designed to reduce this in the body, which is why you have to make sure you're drinking the proper source.
So on that, so based on what you're saying, then water in of itself, everyone that is hydrated, we'll use the term hydrated, meaning taking enough water in, they're putting themselves in a better situation than someone that is not hydrated, let's say properly. And so what we're talking about here really is efficiency. So in other words, regular water will do a certain amount of positive, will allow the cell to do a certain amount of things. But what we're really trying to do is take our vehicle, pull it up to a pump and put super unleaded in, is what we're really trying to do, right? We're just trying to get it running optimally through this proper ionized water. Is that fair?
Yes. And one thing that I would like to change people, language is everything. If you're drinking positive charged water, do not say you're hydrating. You're just putting fluids in the body. So fluids could be like Gatorade, tap water, bottled water, your fridge filter, maybe your Brita filter, maybe you're buying alkaline water, maybe you're just putting fluid in the body, but you're not hydrating the body. The definition of hydration is when your cells are absorbing the water, and your cells cannot absorb positive charged water.
At all? At all?
Your body will evolve and your body will go into a state of panic where it has to absorb a tiny bit. So between 5 to 18% is the maximum that your body can absorb throughout the day. And that's what you're running on. You're running on 18% efficiency. But when you switch over to a negative charged water, your body is absorbing around 95% efficiency of the water. That's a huge change.
That's a huge
I would rather run on 95% than 18%, especially if you are an athlete or you're trying to recover your body. Maybe you are recovering from an injury or a surgery, or maybe you just had a baby, or maybe you are, there's so many different things. Your body needs to recover. But how do you recover? How do you actually cellular recover? By decreasing the oxidative free radical damage on the cells by donating electrons. We have to break it down to particle science. So stop looking at your food as macronutrients, fats, carbs, proteins. Break it down to particle science. Is it a positive charge or is it a negative charge? The more negative in the body, the better, because that's how your cells recover.
So how do we then, you talked blue zones, and for those people that aren't familiar with blue zones, I think there's 5 across the world, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
5, yes? Okay.
Yeah.
They are the pockets of this ionized water, and also directly correlated to longevity of life. So in these blue zone areas are the culmination of people that live the longest. And so there's ionized water, and there's other things too. A lot of them are communal and live in communities, small communities, and there's support, and there's all these other things that play into that. But regardless, it is there. So Ariel, how do we mimic this blue zone environment with water? Because again, not all water is created the same.
And that's why we have a technology here. We have an actual water device that you can hook up to your sink, and it actually mimics this blue zone water. 1 cup of this water is the equivalent of you consuming 10 pounds of blueberries or 50,000 cups of green tea for antioxidants. We know antioxidants are important because they actually have electrons that they can donate to the free radicals and the oxidative stress on your cells. Think of oxidative stress or free radicals as attacking the cell and then antioxidants restore the cell. So the antioxidants are the good guys coming from the water or coming from your fruits and vegetables. And then the free radicals or oxidative stress is the bad guys.
Right.
So you don't want to have too many bad guys in the body.
Right, which we talked about. It might have even been on the last part of this series, where we want to get ways to get the free radicals out of the cell.
Yes.
That's our goal, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And what people don't realize is biologically, our body is wired to live to be 120 years old. And what is supposed to kill you is your heart has a certain number of beats in its lifetime. So your heart is actually supposed to stop at 120. But the problem is people are not living as long because they have so many free radicals and oxidative stress on their cells, affecting their telomeres, which is affecting their longevity. And also, it's not just about living to be 120, it's about the quality of life. People don't realize that you can actually still have your physical ability to climb a mountain and do your yard work at 80, 90, 100 years old. But the problem is your bones, your whole system starts to become inflamed and acidic, and then you can't move as well. You start to lose mobility. And I want you to think in terms of your body naturally has a slight pH of 7.35. Your blood is 7.35. When we are constantly hydrating with ionized water, you're maintaining that pH. But if you're eating a very acidic lifestyle, you're changing that pH. The blood has to buffer. So your bones actually contain a large storage of alkaline minerals, which will donate and it will send those minerals into the blood to buffer the blood, which will start to raise the alkalinity of the blood. But over time, your bones and your cartilage will start to decay. And you'll get things like osteoporosis, arthritis, autoimmune conditions, fibromyalgia, the list goes on. And did you know that every single autoimmune condition is stemmed, the root cause is actually mitochondrial dysfunction? Remember, cellular dysfunction. The mitochondria is in the cell. If it's dysfunctioning, it's going to turn into an autoimmune condition. What if you could recover that? You go backwards. Your cells have a 25-day turnover. Everything you give your cell turns into the next generation of cells 25 days later. You are what you eat. You are the amount of acidity that you allow. And so if you start to notice that your body is speaking to you through pain or through discomfort, that's your weak point. That's where the water is going to go and donate those electrons first. You start drinking this water, then you will start to notice that area that's weak for you will start to recover, because that's where the electrons are going to donate.
Yeah. You casually mentioned this. I just want to bring it back because it's a weighty statement. You said 1 cup of ionized water is like drinking 50,000 cups of green tea.
Yeah.
That's insane.
That's insane. I love my tea. I love my tea. But if you were to test the ORP of green tea, it has a negative 100.
Right.
And so that means it's only donating a few electrons to each cell. That's a very slow rate. I don't want that rate. I want the thousands. So you consume 1 cup of the 9.5 from the Kangen water, the ionized medical grade medicinal water, you are recovering so many more. And the equivalent, the ratio is 1 to 50,000 cups of green tea. You would be on the bathroom forever.
Yeah. You have a colostomy bag next to you, for gosh sakes. You know what I'd love to do? Obviously, we could go down and talk about this for hours. It's a big part of our superhero formula here with what you do at Vitality Wellness in terms of restoring vitality to your clients. Here's the thing. You just briefly mentioned negative 100 for green tea. Let's look at the opposite end. Maybe you can. So we have like in this diagram with the ORP and the millivoltage. You can explain that for our audience. Cancer cells turn on at plus 30.
Yes.
So I want, because this is really important, gang, this is great tangible stuff that I want to have it resonate with you because it can be life-changing. So
Yes.
can you share with us a kind of an
Absolutely.
overview of that?
Your body runs on voltage, your central nervous system. If you are familiar with electrolytes, they are conductors and they conduct electricity in the body. So water is supposed to be ionized, which is alive, and it conducts electricity as well. So what I'm referring to is when you test with the ORP, you're testing the millivoltage of the water. And so your cells actually activate at a negative 22 millivoltage. Your cells heal, and I know that's a very broad term, but your body heals itself. Just like if you have a wound, you get a cat scratch, that wound will eventually heal, but you can have a better efficacy rate and speed of that healing process based on your voltage. You can heal your broken bones faster. You can heal from a burn or a wound faster if your body is at a voltage of negative 50 millivoltage. And we have all of this information on our YouTube channel. You can watch our video. And the crazy thing is cancer cells, they actually turn on at a positive 30 millivoltage. And so if you were to test things, well, what am I consuming that would be in that realm? Mm-hmm. Meat, processed foods, fast food, alcohol, coffee, tap water, bottled water, anything that is not coming from the earth. Or let's say you are eating your fruits and vegetables. Let's say you're completely plant-based, you don't drink coffee, and you're just eating fruits and vegetables all the time. Are they organic? Otherwise, that's just a chemical soup, because there is herbicides, pesticides, insecticides, and glyphosate. All 4 of those are oil-based, which means when you rinse them, they don't come off. And because your body is a fatty lipid bilayer, those oil-based pesticides are going to bind to your bilayer, becoming endocrine disruptors, turning cancer on. So that's why we're seeing a lot of people that are going plant-based. Great, power to you. However, if it's not organic, that could be the next step that you might want to take this. But maybe you can't buy organic, and that's where our water machine has the 11.5 feature. It emulsifies that glyphosate and pesticides. You can YouTube this. We actually have demos online that you can watch. It removes all of the pesticides, herbicides, and glyphosate. You can see it in the water. You can taste it after you eat it, and now your produce is clean.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like a yellow oil. It looks like oil.
It's gross.
It's kind of gross. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gang, for a tangible example, like Ariel just said, we have this millivoltage, which is based on the ORP of what we consume, water and so forth. On that spectrum, green tea, negative 100. Okay, negative 100. Cancer cells turn on at 30, positive 30. And as she said, things like coffee, all the way up to bottled water and even pop and things like that, you're looking to positive 200 to 400. Yes. Positive 400. When we know that cancer cells can be ignited at plus 30.
Yes.
If you think about that, and this is science, this is not some arbitrary data here, right? When you think about that, if you want to live a vital and healthy given time, where we all have a certain amount of time left, you have the ability to choose wisely. And when you look at the negative 100 of the green tea, then it goes the other way. I mean, cod liver oil and things like that, I think are negative 2, maybe something like that.
Yep.
And then the ionized water starts to negative 400 and further to negative 800.
Yeah.
That's a huge swing. Huge swing.
Yep.
And
yeah. And what does that mean? When you're at negative 800, you are repairing 1 trillion cells per cup of water. And just to put this into context, 1 puff of a cigarette creates a trillion free radicals. And alcohol, depending on the consumption or the type, so if it's a hard alcohol versus a light beer or a wine, can actually create between 50,000 to 1 trillion free radicals, depending on your dosage. That's how many cells you're destroying. You only have 75 trillion cells, and they can only recover so fast. And if you want to have beautiful skin, you don't want your hair to go gray, you don't want your hair to fall out, you want to support your thyroid gland, you want to support your body's weight management or your bone structure, maybe your spine, maybe your central nervous system, maybe your gut health. Everything is particle sensitive. It always goes back to a positive, negative particle, because negative ignites the cells to heal and to be supported and to recover. Positive starts to destroy the cell. So look at your food in terms of positive and negative from now on.
Yeah.
And if you do have really poor lifestyle habits and you're like, it's game over for me. I smoke, I drink coffee, I'm on medications, I don't exercise, that's it. No, that is not it. Remember, 1 cup can support up to trillions of cells for 1 cup. How much water do we recommend people drink? This is a gallon. This is how much water I've had today. I do love my water. A gallon a day keeps the doctor away. I am telling you, I can't even do the math on this right now. This is a gallon of water of the 9.5, and we tested the ORP. It was negative 800. So I don't even know the numbers for that, but that's a lot of cells that we're recovering. That's probably why I'm so jacked up all the time. But the days that I don't drink that much water, I feel it. I actually feel the heaviness behind my eyes. I feel tired. And so I will go for a cup of water over a cup of coffee. I have a cup of water, boom, I'm like a little plant, and I perk right up. And you can actually test this with your plants. You can do this with your animals, with your plants. If you have any wilted celery sitting in your fridge, soak it in a cup of this water, and within 45 seconds to 2 minutes, it'll perk back up. It's really cool. That's and so amazing. You can actually, all your really sad looking produce sitting in the fridge, it's oxidized. That's why it looks sad. And so it's so interesting when it comes to your skin. So all of our beautiful women out there that are like wanting to get Botox, do not do that. You drink this water and your wrinkles actually start to poof up again, right? It helps with the collagen. It helps with the waters. I'm actually 65 years old. No, I'm just kidding. I'm like, I look good. No, just kidding. But you know, it's pretty incredible. You can actually talk to some of our lovely ladies here who have been drinking the water for 10 years or more. They look amazing. They actually look like they've had work done. Just saying, but they haven't. It's just the water.
Well, to tie all this up and to tie up this 4-part series, because this is the 4th of the series, these are all things that are within your capabilities. Everyone out there, you have access to this. And just to take us back, week 1 was about magnetism.
Yes.
So Ariel and I discussed the power of the earth. The earth magnetism is the strongest force on this planet. Grounding, these are things that you can do, getting in touch with the earth's magnetic force. All these are available on our YouTube channel. So, if you've missed any of these parts of the series, I highly recommend going back to watch them. But also PEMF, so pulse electromagnetic frequency. These are things that we use as part of our treatments to restore, where you can lay down and really get into the cellular structure and really, with frequency and magnetic, shake up the cells so that everything flows. And we talked blood work and removing our sticky blood and things like that. The second one, of course, is oxygen.
Yes.
Understanding the power of breath, meditation, conscious breathing. There's breathing methods out there. We talked Wim Hof. We talked, protocols for saturating our bodies through deep breaths. We are shallow breathers by nature, most of us. We become shallow breathers. And then taking it a step further with halotherapy and salt, and this idea, this concept of salt promotes health, and viruses cannot thrive in a salt laden environment, and how that can really remove mucus from the lungs and respiratory health. Last week we talked light therapy. We talked really getting in with red light and infrared, and getting in with what we cannot do, and especially in an environment, Ariel and I live in the Pacific Northwest, where sun is not is few and far between a lot of the time. So yes, we talked vitamin D protocol, and we talked that, but then there's also ways to rehabilitate at the cellular level through light therapy. And lastly, today, of course, Ariel, water. Everything comes down to water. We are all water, a good high percentage of us. And this truly is a 4-part formula for taking back our lives. And if each one of these is profound in of itself.
Yes.
Gang. And then you can imagine the power that would lie in putting these together.
Yes. I challenge each and every one of you to take 90 days and do the 4-part superhuman treatment. I can already tell you right away, you will be a changed person. Mm-hmm. It will affect your work. It will affect your mind. It will affect your family and your loved ones. It will affect your goal setting, and it will affect your physical look. Inside, outside, you will hold yourself differently. You will be able to manage, and you will be able to organize your thoughts differently. Honestly, it was a game changer for myself. James has experienced it, and we want you to experience the superhuman treatment if you haven't already.
Excellent. And of course, you can go on our website. All the information is in the links here. Have a consultation with Ariel. We can chat this. There's a lot of things that Vitality and Wellness World can offer you on your journey to reclaiming you, and whatever that means to you. So Ariel was awesome. I really enjoyed this 4-part series. We will be back next Wednesday, of course, and we will. We haven't figured out what we're going to talk on yet, but we will. Rest assured.
It's a secret.
And as I always say, mad love to the courageous. And Ariel, you are a rock star. Thank you for your time and your energy.
Thank you so much for having me here.
All right.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.